Welcome back to 12 Games of Christmas. Can you believe it's day 5 already with me, Mr. Hill26, and today we're going to be looking at 2 really cool different tips and tricks, as well as a quite popular featured game. Let's get straight into it. So today's featured game comes from Saudi Arabia and the user B1M1M1. Now this is a car driving game. It's very popular actually. It's already got over 1,000 views compared to many of our other games, which may be getting about 7 or 8 views, which I'm still delighted with. This one has been going around scratch, has been very popular, but it's actually quite a simple game. You are this orange car, you're driving through a set of mazes, and you're just trying to get to an edge. If you look carefully, each maze has only one way to get to an edge, and when you get to an edge, it changes the sprite and it changes the level. The driving mechanic is very nice, very smooth, and if you have a look at the code, you'll see how it works. A little bit fancy, probably a bit more advanced than what you are used to coding, but other than that, the actual design of the game is very simple and straightforward. And this is Car Driving 2. Car Driving 1 was featured and has over 300,000 views. So thank you very much B1M1M1 for sharing this in 12 Games of Christmas, and if anyone wants to remix, make their own version, please do. Or add your own projects into the 12 Games of Christmas studio. So this is really cool. Now, as you know, a block like this with a circle in, normally you would expect only has circles in there. So if you had a variable in and you wanted to drop the variable in, you could do, and it will move that many steps, whatever that value is. And you can also even do maths. So you could say move 4 plus 5 steps, and it will forever move 9 steps. Okay, so that's how these circle areas in these blocks work. But did you know you can actually use true or false blocks, also known as Boolean? Now Boolean is a very famous type of logic that was developed by George Boole a long time ago in coding, and it basically works on that ones and zeros approach, true or false. So you'll see down here I've got 4 different blocks, and all of these blocks are either true or false. 15 is less than 10, well, that is false. This says, basically, is the key space pressed? Well, at the moment I'm not pressing the spacebar, so that would be false. Does apple contain an A? That is a true. It's a true or false. You're not going to say maybe or perhaps or 3. It's going to be true or false. And what you can do with these, and this is really clever, is true or false in coding often gives the answer 1 if it's true and 0 if it's false. And if you know, like binary, all your ones and zeros and things, you'll know that computers only really work in ones and zeros, on or off, true or false. So if I drag this down here and I say forever move and put this in, well, this is false, so this doesn't do anything. Okay, my cat's not moving, but if I change it to a 5, it starts moving. Now it's only moving 1 step at a time, and that's because it's true. That's really cool. So you can have another one here. Is the key space pressed? Now it's only going to move 1 step. Now normally in games we like our characters to move a bit faster. But when I put my finger down on the space bar, you can see he moves 1 step. That's really smart. And then let's try this one. So we know that apple contains A. It does. Does it contain a B? No, it stops moving when I put a B in it. C doesn't move. But if I put an E in there, it goes again. Now think of all the possibilities that you could do with lists and questions that you could ask, and because you can use the answer block, and there's so much you could do with it. And this one I love as well. This one, if touching mouse pointer. Okay, so as soon as I put my mouse on it, he moves just a little bit. So if you have a circle like this and you could use the value 1, then you can create that value 1 by using these. And I guess you could do things like, I'm going to guess this now, you could then add in this here and times it by 5, and then he will go a lot faster. Let's see if oh yeah, he does. I can't actually grab him because every time I grab him he wants to move, so he goes faster. And again, let's try this. Apple contains the he should go faster. There we go. So you can play around with this, the fact that this creates a 1. This is such a good tip. Thank you, Nizon, however you pronounce that. That is a really fun Scratch expert tip for today. Okay, today is a very quick tip from me, and it's just to add something perhaps a little bit more professional to your Scratch games, because we know when you starting out learning how to use Scratch and we teach you how to choose a backdrop, and you choose one of these great entry-level backdrops in the game, or perhaps you can choose a sprite and you've got all of these great sprites to choose from to start off with. And I still use some of these, I still use the buttons quite a lot in my projects too. But sometimes you just want to have something that perhaps looks a little bit different. Perhaps you want to use something that doesn't look so scratchy. Okay, so you probably have seen this before, but at the top of each of these options there is an upload backdrop or an upload sprite. I want to show you just a couple of great tools you can use to get some really good backdrops. And the first you may know about is called Canva. And Canva, you can get a free account, a free educational account, and speak to your teachers if you're at school and you want a free Canva account. It is quite easy to set up your account anyway. And what you're going to do when you get to Canva and you sign in, you're going to click create a design, and you want to do, you can see where it's got custom size here. I find a good size is about 1000 should I say, 1000 to 750. That's a good size for the Scratch area that you can use to create things. And then you can just have a look in this. If you go to photos, for example, let's search forest, you can get some really nice pictures. So perhaps I'm going to take this one here, I'm going to fill it in the whole screen, and then I'm going to download that image. You could also search for just a certain element here. So they've got elements, and if I search tree, I've got some great trees here. Remember, the animations won't work in Scratch, you have to animate yourself. Say for example, I like the look of this tree. I'll make it nice and big. Now it's important that when you download this, that you select transparent background. That means you'll only get the tree and not the white square around it. If Canva doesn't have what you're looking for, perhaps Google has it, and you search tree sprite. And if you ever want a sprite, always put sprite after it, and you get some really good, nice, already created effects for your computer game. So say for example, you like the look of this one to put in your game. Don't be fooled by this here. This might well be a cross background. It might not be a transparent background, but we can use remove.bg, and you just open up that website, remove.bg, and you drag your picture in and drop it on top. So you drag it from Google, make sure that it is big on the right hand side. You can't drag it from here, you've got to drag it when you select it, and you drag it in, and then it does it for you straight away. And so I can download that. Let's have a look how they look in Scratch. So the first thing I did was I'm going to upload my backdrop. Excellent, so that looks really nice. If I wanted to convert it to a vector, I could maybe do some slight changes, but I'm going to leave it as it is there. That looks nice. And I can upload my two sprites. You can upload more than one sprite at once. So I've got my two sprites here. Let's see which one looks better. So you can see they've got nice transparent backgrounds. We can add them into our forest area, and we can then go into the costumes and we can duplicate it, and we can start adding in some mouths if we wanted to add a mouth in, or whatever we wanted to do. So there you go, using Canva as a way to create a background, or even your thumbnail, your picture that goes at the start of your game. or downloading some extra sprites, or going to Google and using remove.bg. That's my little tip for today on making your games maybe look a little bit more professional and taking you from the level from beginner to intermediate.